what's up everybody? It's your boy Tristan Barrocks here, the digital storyteller, and I'm super excited to be with you for another episode of Cinecut, where I'll be talking about what's in my camera bag. I love this thing. Are you ready? I'm ready. Let's go. Woo! So for starters, I just want to clarify a few things before we begin. The first thing is, this is not a in-depth review on every single piece of equipment that's in my camera bag. This is really more of a general overview of the critical things that I believe can help you in terms of selecting what you carry in your bag. And a lot of people ask me, when you travel, Tristan, what do you carry in your camera bag? What are the vital pieces of kit that you can do without? And this is really what I'm doing this video for. I'm doing it so I can show you what works for me. Now, this may not work for you, but it works for me really well, and maybe some of these suggestions can work for you in the long term or in the future. Without any further ado, let's go! The number one first thing that I definitely always walk with in my bag is my A7 Mark III. Now, this camera here is my favorite camera to use. It's a workhorse, it's a beast, it's a photographer's dream. I mean, the images that come out of this are amazing. The video quality out of this is really, really dope for the price. It has great 4K, it has great slow-mo imagery on it. It's just a great camera, and I love using it, and I don't leave home without it. This has replaced my 5D Mark II, my 5D Mark IV, my 5D Mark III. It's replaced my C100 to a certain extent, Mark I. It's replaced my A7S Mark II. This has been basically the camera I've been waiting for a long, long time, and it works like a charm, and I love it, and that's why it's in my bag all the time. The next thing that I always carry with me is this Azden stereo/mono mic. Now, this thing looks a little awkward. It kind of has a weird shape to it, and it's a little top heavy, but let me tell you, the sound quality that you get off of this bad boy is ridiculous. It's really, really usable. It's very, very clean. I've had tons of different mics. Most of them have been Rode mics. So for instance, the Rode Video Mic Pro, the Rode Stereo mic. I've had tons and tons of different types of shotgun mics like this, and this is by far my favorite. One of my number one features on this particular, it takes AA batteries, and they only actually draw power, or the mic only draws power when the mic is on, obviously, and the mic is only going to go on if you have it on the auto switch when the camera is on and when it's connected to the camera. So that's why I have this mic in my bag. It's great for vlogging as well, so that's why I got it in there. The next most important thing to me that's in my bag is the Sigma MC11 adapter. This adapter is by far my favorite Sony to Canon mount, and the reason for that is because, number one, Sigma is really, really good with the software updates with this particular adapter. It's just a really, really great adapter. I love it. I've used it from day one on my A7S Mark II, as well as my A6300 when I owned the A6300, and also now on my A7 Mark III. It's a great investment. If you have not purchased an adapter, you should purchase one, especially if you own lenses with different mounts. Even though I switched from Canon to Sony, I want to keep the Canon glass because I really liked Canon glass. So this MC11 adapter has been a lifesaver. I have two of them. I'm thinking of getting a third, so every one of my Sony cameras have it, because I have tons of Canon glass, and it works really well with all of Sigma's Art Series lens Canon mounts. So, which leads me to the next item that's in my bag that I never leave home without, because it's my favorite lens to shoot with, especially when I'm running and gunning and I'm just on a monopod, and that is the Sigma Art Series 35 1.4 lens. This lens here is a beast. I love it. I love the focus ring on it. I love the build quality on it. I love everything about what this lens is. And the thing that makes it even more powerful, when you match it up with the MC11 adapter, you put it onto a Sony A7 series, full frame series camera, you can actually have 2 focal lengths. So with a lot of the A7 series lineup, you can do what they call a crop factor mode or crop mode. So you can go into Super 35 mode. Why is that important, Tristan? Well, the reason why it's important is because I can have a 35mm focal length in full frame, and then if I go to Super 35 mode, now I have a 55 or a 52mm focal length with this same lens without switching lenses. And again, I tell people all the time, it may be a small thing, it may sound like a little gimmick, but when you're running and gunning, when you're shooting a wedding, when you're shooting a live event, you don't have the time to necessarily switch lenses. You may not have the luxury to do that. Or if you're in a situation where it's super dark inside the location, you don't necessarily want to put on a 105. You don't want to put on a 24 to 70. You want to put on something that's ultra fast, a lens that can draw a lot of light, and this lens can do that. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret, okay? To really amplify the nature of this particular lens, to take it over the top and make it amazing, I've actually put on a filter, and the filter that I put on is a Tiffen 77mm black Pro Mist filter. It's a black Pro Mist filter. Let me tell you, girl, child, let me tell you. But for real, this combination of the Tiffen black Pro Mist filter with the Sigma Art Series 35, it'll change your life. That's all I'm telling you. It's going to change your life. So again, I'm not telling you to buy it, but I'm telling you to buy it because you're not going to regret it. Just letting you know. The other 2 lenses that you will always find in my bag, without a doubt, is the Sony 50mm 1.8 and the Sony 28mm 2.0. Cheap and cheerful doesn't even really describe how beautiful and how nice these lenses are. Let's talk first about the 50. The 50mm, again, on a full frame sensor, on a Super 35, allows you the flexibility of getting some nice, creamy, sharp, in-focused images, videos, but as well, it allows you to really have that sort of cinematic quality to it. The focusing on this is not the greatest, but it is only about $200 or $250 Canadian. So, I mean, I'm not expecting it to be a focus beast, but when you have it in the right situation, which is most situations, it works really well. It's great for photography, super sharp for photography. It renders colors really well. And as well, for video, if you're in a situation where you don't have the ability to do manual focus, because the manual focus ring on this is not the greatest, I'll be honest with you, it's actually kind of annoying. In certain situations with good light, or even if you're in a low lighting situation, this lens can do the job. It can really do the job. I've used it many times. It's really great. Let's talk a little bit about the 28mm. 28mm I bought primarily for glide cam work or gimbal work, and it works. It works really well. I love this lens on a full frame body. It is beautiful. It looks beautiful. It feels beautiful. It renders really well. It's snappy. It's sharp. When I say snappy, it actually snaps into focus really well. And it's only, I think it's about $500 Canadian. But honestly, I use this lens all the time. I put it on a gimbal, or put it on my camera, put my camera on the gimbal, and it's a dream to work with. I use it so much for my wedding work, for my vlogging work. It's a really great vlogging lens as well. It's just a great focal length in general. Let's talk a little bit about audio. Now, for me, audio, again, is something that is very important to me. And a lot of times when I'm traveling, I don't have the luxury of bringing, my Zoom F8 or my Zoom F4 or larger recorders that may do more of a professional job. So one of the ways I counteract that is just by having really good quality gear for the situations I may find myself in. And one of those pieces of gear is this little guy here. This is the Tascam DR-10L. Now, this right here is an individual audio recorder that records dual audio channels at the same time. It also has limiters built into it, and it also comes with a lapel mic. And as you can see, it's super light. I learned about this recorder from my friend and fellow YouTuber who is Matt Johnson. I'll leave his link or a link to his channel below, but he has a couple of these, and I picked up a couple of these as well. I lost one, unfortunately, but I had one more, and I use this all the time for my weddings in conjunction with other recording options or solutions. But this is great because it's lightweight. It can fit in your pocket, fit in your inside pocket. You can do a lot of things with it where you can hide it and you can really stash it away. It's not that expensive, about 260 bucks, $270 Canadian. It's 200 bucks American. It's worth every penny. The next item that is super important to me and that is always in my bag is an ND filter, variable ND filter, I should say. Now, I'm gonna just show you something. You may or may not be able to see it, but I'm gonna kind of turn this up to the light here. And as I turn this, it should get darker. And as I turn it back the other way, you should see through. You see my mouth there? Hi, my name is Tristan. Hi, my name, my face has just disappeared. It's basically sunglasses for your lenses. Now, the reason why I walk with this is because the A7 Mark III does not have built-in variable NDs into the body. It's just not something that's available within a tiny body like that. But this, in conjunction with putting it on top or in front of the lens element that I'm using, allows me to really control the intensity of light that's hitting my sensor. Why is that important? Well, sometimes you want to, when you go outside, it's super bright, and if you're shooting wide open, let's say f1.2, f1.8, f2.8, you have to really overcompensate with your shutter speed or undercompensate with your ISO and bring that down. And even then, you may not really get the type of look that you want. So this will actually prevent more light or less light to hit the sensor. Try and keep it in my bag at all times because I use it all the time, especially on the Sigma Art Series 50 or 35 millimeter. The next thing that I always bring with me is my Samsung T5 SSD drive. This drive is the bomb. They come in sizes of 250, 500, 1 terabyte, and I believe 2 terabytes. This 500 gigabyte in particular is only about, I think, 130 bucks. 130 bucks, 500 gigabyte SSD that can fit in your back pocket, in your knife kind of pocket, side pocket. It's really, really, really useful. I love it, and I never leave home without it. The next item that's in my bag all the time is my Pocket Juice USB battery. This battery here is the bomb. It can charge, obviously, you know, things like your iPhone, your iPods, all that sort of stuff, but it can also charge and power up things like, you know, your Sony cameras, as well as some smaller devices, even monitors to a certain extent, depending on the voltage. But I really walk with this all the time because you never know when you're gonna need that extra bit of juice. I usually walk with about 2 or 3 of these, depending on how long I'm traveling for. The next 2 things that I always have in my bag is a sensor blower thingy majiggy. Listen, for those of us that are in the Sony family, you already know what it is. Dust is gonna get on that sensor. It's gonna lay down like that. It's gonna be like, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? You got a problem? I'm taking a vacation right on your sensor. I'm putting my ass right down here, sir. What you gonna do? And it's really annoying when you're in a situation like a wedding, like a promotional video, like an interview, and you see the dreaded speck of dust or hair or lint. It's so annoying. So just walk with one of these. They cost about $5 on Amazon or whatever else. And 95% of the time, this is all I need to clean my sensor. I never leave home without it. But in the cases where you need to really clean your sensor, then you need one of these, which is a sensor cleaning stick. A full frame sensor cleaning stick, or if you have a Super 35 crop sensor camera, then you would get the appropriate sizing for that. This is there, and then you also want to get the liquid that goes along with it. And the last thing, but not least, that I always have to walk with, no matter what, in my bag or with me, and I place in my bag all the time, is my MacBook Pro. Now, I mean, again, this should be obvious, but I find that a lot of people don't necessarily walk with their laptops all the time, and that's cool. I mean, that might be your thing. For me, my MacBook Pro Retina 15-inch is a workhorse. It's something that I never leave home without, because again, you know, clients can ask you for crazy things in the middle of a trip, in the middle of a vacation, in the middle of so many different things. So you just want to be prepared. And I feel for the price that I pay, not having to worry about viruses, not having to worry about a lot of different issues, having the tech support that I need, I just love this sort of Mac machine. Well, that's the end of another episode of Cinecut with your host, me, Tristan Barrocks. I hope you learned something new. I hope you gained some tips about some of the tools that I use and that I can't live without. The things that are in my bag are really personal to me and my flavor and my taste, but I'm sure you can take some of those items as inspiration as you build your bag. And definitely let me know what are some of your thoughts about the items that are in my bag, and also give me a list down in the comments below of the things that are in your bag. I would love to know that too as well. Until the next time, stay cool, stay amazing, stay inspired. Peace! Hey, what's up everybody? It's your boy Tristan Barrocks here, the digital storyteller, and I'm super excited that you took the time to watch one of my videos. I really appreciate it. If you don't mind liking, subscribing, and sharing my videos, I would really appreciate it, and I'll see you next time. Peace!